Welcome back to another episode of First Light, the podcast where we explore journeys of visionary leaders, innovators, and change makers. I'm your host, Chris Keller, and today we have an incredible guest who is transforming the way law firms engage with their clients. Andy Seavers is the CEO and co-founder of Case Status, a cutting-edge legal technology company that is revolutionizing client communication and engagement for law firms across the country. With a background in entrepreneurship and a passion for solving complex problems, Andy is here to share his insights on the intersection of technology and law, what it takes to build a game-changing legal tech platform, and how lawyers can leverage innovation to improve client satisfaction. Andy, welcome to First Light. Andy, I want to welcome you to First Light. And for those who may not have known you, take a second to introduce yourself. I know you've had this impressive journey as an entrepreneur. What led you kind of into legal tech and, your inspiration behind Case Status?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. I'm Andy Seavers. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Case Status. We're a client engagement platform. We help law firms better care for clients. And so I was actually a pre-law major in college. I was in a band for a long time. And when we got a record deal when I was in high school, and when the band broke up, we always joked that the lawyers were the only ones that made any money. And so I thought, I'll go to Nashville and I'll become an entertainment lawyer. But during undergrad, got into tech. After clerking at a couple law firms and really never looked back from that point on until meeting my co-founder, who is a plaintiff attorney. And we started Case Status about 7 years ago, really out of the pain points that she was facing at her law firm.
So before Case Status, take us through that career journey of, let's go back to being in a band. That's pretty cool. So, tell us a little bit more about being in a band and then how that ultimately led you into tech, and kind of take us through your tech journey.
Yeah. I don't always go back that far, but it's a fun part of my story. We started a band in high school, some friends and I, just because we thought it would be a fun thing to do. Very musically inclined, and when I was a senior, we started to get some traction, and it was the transition from MySpace to Facebook, and there were all these things happening where digital music was a lot easier to consume, good and bad. For us, it was past the Napster time, so it was good. And we started playing a lot, and it was more and more. And then a small label became interested and signed us, and we started touring for 2 years. And I say it was my first true startup, but imagine pitching this to investors. Like, we're selling the same thing as everyone else, and we're going to distribute it by driving around in a 15-passenger van, and we're going to sell T-shirts. And that's how you're going to make your money back. I mean, it would be the worst pitch you could possibly imagine, but it taught me a lot, especially in that time. And then ultimately, it led me to Nashville, where I went to Belmont University and was part of a lot of entrepreneurial classes. Did a business track where they pair you with someone from the law school, and that taught me a lot about starting companies, and really led me to work at a company called technologyadvice.com, and help build one of their early teams all around software and finding the right software for your company. And I left that business really without any plan other than, I'm going to be an entrepreneur full time. I know that's what I'm supposed to do. And I became technical and started writing code and started helping people with their projects, and had my own projects. And that journey over the next 10 years was a really good one, where I became truly a fractional CTO. Businesses would hire me to help them get unstuck with their bad developers or bad code, but I always knew that I wanted to build something for myself. That's why I always had a project going alongside that. And then when we started Case Status, it was like, no, this is the thing. This is going to work, and we knew that pretty early. And it doesn't mean it's easy, but we knew we were on something in the early days.
Well, you say it's not easy, and to create a new company, especially when you're creating this new product. What were some of those early challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, well, we're unique because we weren't entering. We were entering, especially in the time, everyone was saying, "Oh, I don't think the legal market wants to change. I don't think they want to buy software." It was like really, non-sexy in the startup world, and we were coming to market with a product that we always joked that nobody wanted, but the legal industry really needs. And so we're coming to the market saying, it's saying the same story. We don't trust our banks because we call and email them all the time. We trust them because they give us visibility into our bank account on our phone. It's the starting point of access and ownership. And then from there, you can really build your client service mechanism. But at the time, 7 years ago, I mean, law firms were still saying, I hate my clients. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want them to know what's going on. I mean, things that, might get you disbarred today, even 7 years later. But at the time, very difficult going to market with a product that, was immature at the time, of course, and also was something that people weren't looking for. But we always say we had to punch our way into the market and say, no, but you really need this because your clients deserve better, and we can help you get your clients better.
Yeah, I think that's, having grown up in law firms, obviously, I think law firms are always kind of like 10 years behind the curve, right? We're always kind of like 10 years late to things that a lot of companies are doing. And for example, one being AI. So can you talk about, AI as a part of case status and what it's able to do and how you guys have gone to developing AI? But more importantly, I mean, AI is like rapidly evolving and changing. And, what may be cool today might not be so cool tomorrow. So kind of how are you guys keeping up? How are you going on that cutting edge? And what are you guys doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of, especially in legal, there's a lot of excitement around AI. There's a lot of fear too, kind of the old school hourly billing lawyers who are saying, are we going to just like lose all of our billable time because it's all being automated? But, for many, it's the wrong question, right? It's how can we provide better legal service faster, more affordably? And when we still do a lot of flat fee and contingency based firms, they don't have the luxury of just raising their hourly rate. So they've always had to be a bit more innovative, a bit more forward thinking, which is so funny because most of the world looks at that in the reverse light. And so now it's fun to see all the spotlight being put on consumer-based law in particular. And so for us, the real exciting thing for us is we've really been setting the stage from a data standpoint first on what it truly means to provide a good client experience. So in every industry, Net Promoter Score is the driver in really understanding if the customer or the client is satisfied, if they're going to promote you or detract you, or they're just passive. And so we've built a core of case status to believe the same thing. Just by asking your clients for feedback, we can better understand how to serve them. Well, that data set alongside communication, alongside response time, alongside number of staff members, rate of case, all of those things together creates a really compelling opportunity for us in the AI space. And so for us, we look at, okay, well, what's the starting point, the benchmark, the data that says something's one way? And then how can we really help the law firm change and drive a great outcome? And with AI, we can drive a lot of those outcomes automatically. So recommended response is the one that we really was our spearhead in the case status platform, which is really understanding everything about the way the law firm communicates, from their website, from every communication they've had, personalization by staff member, and then pre-drafting responses so that your new staff members who maybe don't know anything about the legal industry, or maybe they know a lot, but they're busy and they don't have time to draft a long response, we're now pre-drafting those responses for them. And it solves a lot of pain, right? It solves young staff members using slang or misspelling words. It solves the problem for the busy staff members who are just like, cool, thanks. It's actually drafting something that is more thought out and actually we hear this all the time. It catches questions that staff members missed because they were moving too fast. Now, we're not ready for the chatbot in legal. It's going to happen. A lawyer is going to implement a chatbot with their clients. It's going to impact the case negatively. They're going to get disbarred for it. They're going to get sued for malpractice. It's going to be a whole thing. We're not going to be on the headlines because we went too fast by pushing the law firm to do something that's not safe yet. So this is, by pre-drafting and still allowing your team or allowing a legal team to be able to see these responses first, we then equip them to be the star and equip them to be faster. And that's just the starting point of what we can do with sentiment. So understanding sentiment in real time, we've been able, because of the Net Promoter Score, we're now starting to look at every single communication and how the client sentiment has changed. Because we know when they call you and they're like, I'm so upset, Well, we know from their voice and their language and their tone that they're upset. We don't need to say, hey, can you give me a score of 0 to 10 real quick, just so I can confirm you're really unhappy, right? We kind of know that intuitively when we communicate. Well, we can do a lot of that too within our platform. And so that gets really exciting for us, where long term we think about how does client sentiment really drive our AI model over time.
I know one other big part of it's been good for our staff is that we do have a large Hispanic client base, and most of our staff is bilingual, but we do have a fair amount of staff that's not bilingual. And I know using case status has helped them to be able to communicate with clients with the translation feature.
Yeah, that one I love. I mean, especially learning the way that the law firm prefers to communicate in that language, because we know it can vary a little bit more formal, more casual, things like that. So over time, starting to learn that communication style and translating it accordingly. And then I'm sure for the people in your firm who don't speak Spanish or another language, it's just a great tool to be able to go back for and have some oversight and be able to better understand what's happened in the past and translate past messages, all of those things. Just, we want to give your firm more tools to be able to do that more effectively.
Well, one thing I want to talk to you about though is founding a company. I know, you and I got to share some time together and see some of the cool things that you do for your team and building a team. And so, you start with this co-founder. It's the two of you. How do you start building a team? How do you start building a company to the scale that you guys are now?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has every journey is different. For us, we got into a program called TechStars in Atlanta. It's an accelerator. Some have heard of Y Combinator, but it's a 4-month program. It was early funding, 100,000 or so, and then resources, and they just really help you accelerate your business. And that was really a great starting point for us to be able to really lean in. And it took, the first couple of years was very much let's talk to as many people as we can. Let's sell as many customers as we can, but really as a way to understand how we can really solve this problem for them long term. And really by late 2019, we had found what we call product market fit, and that allowed us to raise our seed round of venture funding from VIP Ventures in Atlanta, and close to a few $1 million. COVID hit 2 weeks after that money closed. So we all know the consumer market changed a lot. When people aren't driving and they're not getting hurt at work, it's not a great time to go and buy software. But it actually, that motion helped us really learn how to articulate why we were going to be able to help long term. Because really, if case status had been to the point we are now before COVID, the firms that got impacted would almost not skip a beat because they'd never lose touch with their clients. But to go to market at that time was an interesting. It was interesting for our business, but we grew very fast through it, and continued to. We've raised over $30 million now, and we have 75% of our staff in office in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a bit unique for a lot of tech companies these days. And we've got about 75 full-time people, another 30 or so that are in some type of contract role, but still part of the team. And we've really just built this around this belief that we can radically transform the way law firms care for their clients. And it's nice to have a vision where, we have people who have been on the team who have been in accidents, who have dealt with different parts of the legal industry and have understood the pain. So being able to really connect with what we're doing is just such a value, and it makes it easier for us to keep everybody motivated on what we're doing. It's not just for some, just like, oh, let's make more money. It's for something real. Like, we do see a future where clients will demand. It won't like, if your bank called you today and said, hey, we're not going to do online banking anymore, you can just come back to the branch. Like, we'd laugh. It's not even a differentiator. It's a minimum. We do believe the future is that case status is a minimum that clients demand when they hire a law firm. Well, it's good now that lawyers can use this as a differentiator, but our team gets to see that future, and we get to really build that together.
What about the ability? Let's talk about, one thing that concern people with AI is that AI is going to replace humans, and that, I know I've talked to some people who says that with AI that law firms and other companies can reduce their workforce by, as much as 20%, if not more. What's your thoughts and feelings on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's no doubt that there's some waste in the legal industry. For a long time, just hiring people and throwing bodies at the problem has been a solution for many firms. But I think that the firms who are focused on doing right by their clients, are focused on efficiency, are focused on ways that they can create their law firm like a business, and actually, just because the businesses make money doesn't mean they don't care about clients. In fact, I mean, how many, like the Southwest story, early Southwest, they became so successful because of the way they cared for clients. For-profit public company. I mean, that's those things are not exclusive of each other. And so for the law firms who really care and are focused on efficiency, those are not the ones who are going to be impacted negatively. Those are the ones who are going to be able to really use AI to make them better and faster, and ultimately serve more clients faster and more effectively. There will be firms, I think in the big corporate firms especially, who will struggle. They'll need to find ways to be more efficient and trim down staff, because you just can't charge, at some point you can't charge $9,000 an hour for legal work. It just doesn't make sense. There's a cap in some way. And so they'll have to find ways to be more efficient. But in the markets we work in, I just think that it's only going to be fuel to provide better service and be more effective.
Well, let's talk about being a young founder and growing a tech company and scaling and growing as fast as you have. Personally, from you, what has kind of fueled that passion and desire to grow? How have you kind of navigated that? Because I know even, where I'm at, we grew our firm from 18, 19 people to 80 or so over the course of 2 years. And, as a founder of a law firm and not having ever done that before and built a firm, a lot of stress along the way. And I know you also have a family. So let's talk about how you kind of navigate those challenges of building a team, creating a vision for your company, core values for your company. I know you guys do a lot of team building and team events. So take us through some of your leadership principles that guide you.
Yeah. I mean, we use a tool called EOS from a book called Traction. We are very metrics driven, and I like, the way my brain thinks is I'm always looking to the future. I'm always thinking ahead, and I always say a lot of strategy is what's the outcome and work backwards. EOS has been a great platform for us to work on to help make strategy more prescriptive across the organization. Here's where we're going in 10 years. Let's align on our 3-year projections, or 1-year operating plan or budget, our quarterly rocks to get there. How do we meet weekly, quarterly, and monthly to get there? And that just, for me, and with a lot of these tools, takes away a lot of the unknown, because it makes everybody's job really clear. Here's what I'm here to do. Here's what I need to focus on. It's aligned to the organization. It's aligned to what Andy and the board and what the executive team and my boss and our customers and whoever they're listening to, or whoever they need to focus on. It gives them very clear prioritization. And that, just as a core kind of process piece, really has been huge for us over the last few years. And so when we think about like our core values, we use it's like, what does it mean to be rad at Case Status? If you get a chance, on our YouTube channel, we have, every year we do a rad video, which is kind of a culture video. We use it for hiring, but it's who we are at the time. And rad stands for radically disruptive, actively curious, dedicated to the team. And so those 3 points really make up the culture of who we are. We want to be disruptive, and we want to innovate truly. We always want to be curious. That comes with humility, and not thinking that we know all the answers. Lawyers are solutions minded, so they typically come to the table with an answer. Clients still come to them saying, "Hey, what's the problem?" Say, "I don't know." They say, "No, here's how we're going to solve it." Well, we also want to be open to being curious about, well, what's the actual pain that the law firm has that we can help solve. And then dedicated to the team, we have to really be all in. And then from there, we build a lot of culture around that. But where the word rad came from was this idea, well, in like the 80s and 90s, being rad was really cool and fun. It was forward thinking. Well, now it's like you're kind of in the past. So it's a little bit of a joke where, like, online banking came out like 20 years ago. But Case Status, which is similar in some ways. I know it's not the same thing, but it's technology that existed 20 years ago that we're applying today. It's a little bit of a nod to the past, but we're making it cool again. We're making it cool to be rad. We're making it cool to care about clients, and that, we just use that as a fuel to keep the team motivated, and make it fun. This is a hard industry. It's a hard, the legal industry hasn't been slow to innovate because it just like feels like it. There are real levers in the market: lawyer ownership of a law firm, ethical duty of care, are the ABA standard ethical state, well, the state bar specifically, but essentially the way that ethics changes in a law firm over time. All of those dynamics impact how law firms think and operate. And if you're a practitioner, not traditionally training business, and you're trying to grow your company, and you're like, I can't sell it, that's a very unique dynamic that doesn't exist in most businesses, across the U.S. And so, why would I be efficient? Why would I do some of these things that would be typical in an organization? So anyway, those are some of the things that we think about when we think about how do we build case status, and when I think about culture, and you asked about family. I guess I'll hit on that last. For me, when COVID hit, my son was 6 months old. And working from home in that setting was just not going to be feasible. And so we went from a co-working space a couple blocks away to a bigger office, and that culture of just wanting to be together just never really went away. And it became a hub. Now, we have a percentage of our team that is remote. They're all U.S. based, but we then bring them together twice a year to do these events. January kickoff is the kickoff to the year. It's part of sales kickoff, and then summer sessions is another time we bring people together. Ultimately, those types of events just create our culture and make it really good. But the point I was making about the office is that gives me good separation about going into the office. That's where I work and that's where I focus. And when I'm home, I'm home. And yes, sometimes those things bleed over into each other, but it at least helps me we all remember the COVID time. You'd wake up and you're working immediately until maybe you go to bed. And as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, this, you could work 48 hours a day and there would be more to do. So there's just, there's too much to do. At some point, you have to create this separation.
Yeah, I know it as a CEO of a rapidly growing, rapidly expanding company that, you're still wearing a lot of hats. Yes, they call you CEO, but you're in it all. So, and I'm sure part of it is inspiring your team to continue to grow. So what do you do to inspire your team to keep up in this tech world and keep case status out there and relevant?
Yeah, I think we try and just keep things in front of our team. We do a weekly staff meeting where I still lead it and I talk about the things that are happening. And look, I make mistakes. We don't do everything perfectly, but we give the team visibility into what we're doing so they feel part of it. I have the unique benefit that I have actually done every job at Case Status, from writing code to selling to marketing. So when you've done everything, you've implemented customer and done all the complaints, there's a respect that my team has that I've been there and I've done that. And I'm not afraid to do it again. Right now we're in a season because we just raised our Series B at the end of last year. We're fueled. We've got big goals this year, and I actually now have the time to really get in front of firms. That there are plenty of firms out there that will only speak to a founder, but they won't speak to a founder until you're a highly successful company. So it's this weird balance. So great. Now got to the successful point. Now I need to get back out. And so I haven't been in enterprise sales deals for a long time, but there are these specific types of deals that now I'm getting back in front of. And so, and that's fun for me because I want to hear from, how is the industry matured? What are people thinking about today? AI has really been a helpful lens to start to think about efficiency within a firm, and more firms are starting to think that way. And that's just great because it ultimately is going to benefit the clients. And then it's something that we can really speak to and help these firms with.
We had a baby shower at the office and I was taking out the trash, and I reminded the team of that. I said, hey, look, guys, I'm still taking out the trash. We've got this big company now, but, I've done every job. I've answered the phones. I've done the initial client intakes. I've, sent out the electronic contracts. I've, handled the case pre-suit. I've handled the case in litigation. I've tried cases to juries. I've settled, $1,000 cases. I've settled, multi 7-figure cases. So So it's funny that you say that because, right now we are in that season where I'm kind of rolling up my sleeves and kind of get back involved with the team to drive some results as we continue to grow and scale. And so I appreciate hearing that from you. I know also that you are an adventurer. So what's some of the hobbies and things that you do to kind of keep yourself grounded, given that you have a family and this company that's rapidly growing? What's kind of the things that keep you motivated, keep you going, keep you healthy?
Yeah. It's funny. My wife calls me a Renaissance man. I have a lot of hobbies, and I like things that completely take me out of what I'm doing, because otherwise I'm going to be all in on I'm all in on case status all the time. So sometimes I need the momentary reprieve, the distractions before I jump back in. So I fly. I'm a pilot. I've got a small 4-seater plane, and so that's just a fun hobby. I play a lot of golf. There's just something about being on the golf course that I think I solve some of the hardest problems out there. And I'm not naturally good at it, which is one of the things I like about it. I play a lot, but I'm getting better, but it's incremental, and that's awesome. And I mentioned I play guitar and snowboard, and so the more we talk, the more things we'll find in common. I can already tell. But I like to get out and do things. My wife and I have this common saying. I believe I'm going to write a book about it actually at some point. It's called like Adults Doing Hard Things. But at some point we learned along the way that, well, if you're not good at something, you're never going to be good at something. And so we just stop. I mean, I played guitar for 22 years. I can be in my mid 50s, and I'm 32 right now. I could be 54, spend the same time doing something else, and be just as good at it. I mean, and plenty of time left. So when I unlearn that, then I get in this mindset of I'll try anything twice. And so kiteboarding is one that it's super difficult to learn, highly technical, but once you learn, it's an old man sport. You got your harness, you got a 30-foot kite in the air, and you just lean and it pulls you. Now it can whip you around, and it gets very difficult to learn, but once you learn, it's just this like amazing thing where the wind's pulling you through the water. And living in Charleston, it's a great place for it.
Yeah. I know, my firm is just is really loving case status, and it's helping us so much with communication. I have an audience of people who are listening out there, but really speak to that audience about customer service, because I know that's kind of one of the biggest things here, and what you're talking about a lot is be able to serve that client. So why should people use case status? Why should other businesses that are not law firms look at some solutions like this in order to help their businesses grow?
Yeah. Well, that first question you asked about, so we are helping you serve your clients. And so if we're not serving our clients, you all well, then we're not practicing what we're preaching. And so we were just at a conference, and it's a very common thing. And I love to hear this, where our customers and people we work with say there's none of our other vendors are quite like working with the case status team. We will go above and beyond. And we don't just say that. We genuinely want to go above and beyond to help, because we know this is hard. This is your client base. This is the most important thing in your law firm, and you can't mess it up. We understand that is a very tall order, and we've been doing this long enough to know that we can help, but we're going to spend a lot of time going above and beyond to make sure that we help. So for the people who are thinking, well, why case status? We start, most owners, they really care about growth, and we say, well, look, the negative reviews on Google are hurting your firm. It's a symptom of some unhappy clients within your organization, stemming from typically lack of communication. Could be staffing related, it could be process driven, but ultimately those unhappy clients will turn away other clients that could have a really truly great experience. That might come out through a low average, but you also might have a high 4.8, 4.9 average on Google, and that's awesome. Well, give your clients a megaphone to talk about how great you are. We do that through tracking the Net Promoter Score. How can we track the Net Promoter Score? By engaging them through the Case Status app, giving them a place to track updates, automate communication, and really it helps standardize the process of communication in your firm to truly make it better. And then when we track whether or not they're happy or not, your staff can do something. I tell our team, really highlight the first 10 unhappy clients that come in, it doesn't always feel good initially, but now you can do something about it. You now know they're upset early, and you can mitigate, you can help them, because the reality is, you promise them a service and they're not happy about it. Let's actually understand why. And what starts to permeate through the firm is a belief that you actually care about how the client feels. And that is not a feeling that most clients have across the legal industry. And that's what sets our customers apart, is they've now set a standard that we care about you enough to ask, and we do it through the app. So it's easy. All you have to do is 0 to 10. How likely are you to refer us or not to a friend or colleague? And by knowing that throughout the case, we can better help you. And it seems so simple, because it really is, but it is so transformative when you know if your clients are happy or not. It changes. I mean, the legal industry net promoter score right now is like a 23. I actually think it's probably, lower than that. If you can look up net promoter score, it goes from 0 to 100 to or negative 100 to 100. But our customer base has an average of a 70, and is super exciting, because it puts a quantitative measure on that we are providing a better experience. And then we see, you all are relatively new with us, but we have firms like Pond Lockheed Giordano in Philadelphia, who grew from 400 to 2,700 Google reviews in the first few years. We have Richard Harris Law out in Vegas. They did the same, and all of them took their averages from 4.4 up to 4.7 or 8 or 9, because you're giving your happy clients the megaphone to really say, we are happy, we want to help this firm grow, and we want to talk about our experience. And so that's really what Case Status does.
Yeah, and just to echo it, I mean, I know when we make decisions on adding software or other items to the firm, one thing we always look at is our core values, and one of our core values is about being client-centric. And that really means caring for our clients. And like you said, the legal industry, it's so much about communication. So for us, this was a no-brainer. This really fixed a need in our firm, and it's been amazing. So Andy, I want to thank you for your amazing product. And I will also say that your team was wonderful in onboarding and remained wonderful. And it really is a testament to you as a leader of your firm, or of your company. So thank you for that. And thank you for your time here on First Light to share your story into tech and as a CEO and founder.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Andy, this has been an incredible conversation. Thank you for sharing your insights on legal technology, innovation, and the future of client engagement. As always, thank you for tuning into First Light. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Until the next time, keep shining your light.